bios of our two amazing speakers for today that bring a lot of knowledge and expertise in the financial field, financial wellness, as well as financial aid. So I'll start with our first speaker. Ronald Felder is an access partner.
I'm first.
Oh.
Aren't I?
Well, I'm going to read the both of your bios, so it's okay.
I don't know what order the slides are now.
I'm going to read the first bio that was in front of my face. So, Ronald Felder is an access partner for the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency. He has been supporting Philadelphia schools, employers, families, and community partners for the last 10 years. Ron received his bachelor's degree in accounting from Johnson & Wales University. He is a member of the executive board for the Pennsylvania Black Conference in Higher Education and co-director of the Emergent Leadership Program for the Pennsylvania Black Conference. Ron's passion for higher education is evident in his memberships in the College Access Stakeholders Board for Philadelphia, FAFSA Steering Committee for the School District of Philadelphia, College Prep Roundtable for the East, and the Pennsylvania Association for Student Financial Aid Administrators. Ron is also a committee member of the Pennsylvania Homeless Youth and Foster Care Program. He is a charter member of the Sigma Alpha Sigma chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, which is the first African American fraternity established in Bucks County, and Ron is currently the chapter president. Our next speaker for today's event, Becky MacDicken. Becky has been employed with the Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities for more than 17 years. Her area of expertise is financial education, outreach, and training. Under the Office of Financial Services for Consumers and Business, Becky works to deliver financial education to state employees, the disabled community, and incarcerated populations. Becky's previous position was with the Pennsylvania Office of Financial Education as a workplace specialist, assisting public and private businesses bring financial education to their employees. Prior to coming to PA, Becky worked for 16 years in the U.S. House of Representatives as a member of the Committee on Small Businesses. Becky was instrumental in lobbying for the interests of small businesses. Becky is a single mom to one son with autism. So those are our speakers for So first up, I would like Becky.
See what the slide is.
Oh, well, let's see what the slide is then.
It is.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. How are you folks? Good afternoon. So my name is, she says, Becky MacDicken, Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities. We're going to talk a little bit about some money stuff this afternoon before I turn it over to Ron. And I know everyone's probably really more here to see Fia than me, but at the same time, I've got some good information. There are actually some brochures at the back. So I want to make sure that we give you a little bit of foundational information, and this is a financial wellness session. So this Money, Truths, Myths, and Practical Advice was the title that we were given. But real quick. Department of Banking and Securities, if you are not familiar with us, and most people probably aren't, we are a small government agency housed in Harrisburg. Most of the time, our staff is behind the scenes regulating banks, credit unions, mortgage companies, anyone in check cashing, pawn shops, mortgages, auto finances, so all the car loans out there, and then anyone selling stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all that investing stuff. We regulate all the entities and the people who sell those products. We want you to know that we are here to help you with your any financial questions. You see the number at the bottom of the screen, 1-800-PA-BANKS, pretty easy to remember. I sound like an infomercial now, but we actually have live people answering the phone, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you have a question, a concern, a complaint about a financial entity, we can probably help you. Even if it's not directly to our department, our people on the phones, our lovely consumer service staff can get you to the right resources. So we want you to know we are out here to help you. So that's why I do what I do when I come out and do these presentations, right? So one thing I just want to mention briefly is we actually, for the ladies in the room, we just recently launched an initiative called Investing in Women. I am not going to go into this much today, but if you are interested in some of the differences that men and women have regarding money, there are a couple of QR codes up there. How hip is that? Yeah, I know, I sound like a fool. But anyways, this research was based off of study groups, focus groups, a research study, which we are also in the process of updating the data, because this also launched right before COVID. So we're getting some more information, but there's a lot of really interesting nuggets in this research if anyone is into that as far as your major goes or anything like that. And you can always see me after the presentation and I can get you a card with our website, which also has all of this information. Now, a couple of the core concepts that I was asked to talk about today. The first one, banking. So how many of you have a bank account? Yay, most of you. Now, here's the thing. When I say banking, I am talking about traditional banks. So that may change how many hands go up in the room. I won't ask again. But when we start talking about banking, traditional banks are your banks and credit unions. These are the entities we regulate. I'm not going to tout one over the other. I'm not going to tell you who's better, who's not. But what I can tell you is traditional banks are better for you with your money. They insure your money. You need to be very cautious of some of these other things that are out there where they're not insured. Read fine print, look for that disclaimer that it's insured by the FDIC, things of that nature. We're hearing a lot of scams going on, especially, and you'd be surprised, maybe you wouldn't be, a lot of younger people are being scammed, partially because, there's that mentality of I'm young, I'm free, I'm exploring the world, and I know everything, versus, hey, I have a friend whose daughter is in college right now. She had something pop up on her computer screen. It's like, your computer has a virus, call this number immediately. And she did. And they locked her out of the computer and ransomed it, and she's lost $3,000. So please be aware of the scams that are going on out there. Most of the time, I think Temple probably does a great job of warning about some of those things, but if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If somebody's asking you for information to get to your computer or your bank account, yeah, don't give it to them. Go verify that it's the right person another way, all right? But anyways, sorry, bunny trail. Traditional banks. So we do, obviously, we regulate some of the banks that are out there and the credit unions. You're going to have better banking relationships. As you move through life, if you have a relationship with a traditional financial institution and you need a mortgage, suddenly they're going to be willing to help you because you've had an account with them for years. So please keep that in mind as a longer-term picture. You may want to be looking at your traditional banks. Now, some of the other things, where's the, there it is. So then I already mentioned this, non-traditional banks. These are some of the apps people are using. Some of the, just they're online platforms, but again, read your fine print. That's all I'm being caution. Now, yeah, there it is. Now, to build a solid financial foundation, being banked is going to help you do that. The benefits of being banked are lower costs. If you don't have a traditional bank, oftentimes the fees you start to pay to transfer money around start adding up. If you are paying additional fees to move money, pay attention to how much that's eating into your funds. It is not worth it. Most banks and credit unions, you can be transferring money. It's not going to cost you anything. Check writing is usually free. Just watch out for that. The next thing, safety. Having direct deposit when you start working, huge factor. You don't have to, figure out how to go cash a check, and then maybe you just made yourself, somebody watching you cash that check. When you direct deposit and the money goes right to your bank account, it's an insured transaction when it's in a traditional bank as well, but the money's there, you're not carrying it on your person. You're not making yourself a target, so it's just safer for you and your money. The next thing is, I already said this, you build that relationship. As you start looking to maybe pay off student loans, which Ron will get to, maybe you're looking to buy that house, buy a car, having a pre-existing banking relationship is going to help you secure those funds that you may need and give you some other trusted resources. Insured accounts can recoup lost funds. So I can't tell you that if you have a bank account and you lose your debit card and somebody uses it at the gas station, you can probably get that back if you file that, hey, I lost my card, there was fraudulent activity. Your financial institution will probably refund you that money. So that's not the same if you lose cash or a debit, those prepaid debit cards that are out there. Just, again, be careful with all those things. Be aware insured accounts can really save you a lot in the long haul. Being banked can help you with a budget. And I know, I still remember being in college, believe it or not, learning to live on what your budget is. It's going to get only harder as you come out of school, trust me. But when you are banked, you have a running list of all your transactions from the last 30 or 60 or 90 days if everything is going into that account and coming out of that same account. So if you're suddenly like, why am I behind on rent? Why do I not have enough money for rent? Oh, you can go back and look. I went out for pizza a couple too many times. Things like that. It can really help you hone in on a budget. Plus, most financial institutions have some kind of paperwork and pamphlets on helping you create budgets if you need that. They can help you set savings goals. So as you start getting out there, maybe it's paying off those student loans, but again, getting something into savings. The 2 cents on the savings is everybody should have an emergency fund. We all need to have, of course, according to the experts, 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Now I keep joking that COVID taught us most people didn't have 3 to 6 months of living expenses, but one of those things that it can help you set some goals. What am I saving for? And figuring that out. It can also help you obviously set money aside for those goals. If you have direct deposit, you can have most of your money go to checking, but then some goes to savings. Oh, it's like a miracle. And you don't see it, you don't touch it, maybe it sits there and it grows so that you do build up to that 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Obviously meet yourself where you are as far as savings goes. Even getting $5 a week set aside for an emergency can be really helpful a couple months in, whatever, down the road. So keep that in mind. And I keep getting ahead of myself. That emergency fund is really important. Now, again, 1-800-PA-BANKS. Now, another thing, credit. I did put some of Banking and Securities brochures about credit on the back table because we don't have as much time as I'd really like to go into it, but credit is so important. And this, again, I'm hearing a lot of stories about, oh, I've got this card. If you have a prepaid debit card, oftentimes, I want to alert you to this, oftentimes there's a Visa or MasterCard logo on the front. That card, that symbol only means that card's accepted where Visa or MasterCard is accepted. It is not helping you build credit. Credit is a very different animal. So if you have a debit card with your financial institution, it is probably not building credit. There are some hybrid processes out there, or products out there. So just look, ask questions if you're not sure if that card is helping you build credit. But credit is important. So credit is obviously your ability to borrow someone else's money. There is an expectation that you'll pay it back. What? Of course. And that's what makes it so important. Though the more you start to do this, the better. I would venture a guess if I asked if you all have credit cards that most of you would say yes, but I could be wrong. Here's the thing. I will tell you my personal opinion, everybody needs a credit card. That credit card can be a lifeline in an emergency situation. It can be that just that little bit of activity, even if you're just using it for pizza once a month, that activity is going to help you build a credit history. That is also important. Even if you're thinking, I don't want to borrow money, I never want to owe anybody any money, someday you might change your mind, longer term, you may have goals of buying a car, a home, starting a business. You're going to need credit for that. Start building it today if you haven't already. That's my 2 cents. That's not the department's opinion. But anyway, so types of credit. There's actually 3 different types of credit out there. The first one is, this is good news, installment credit. Installment credit, when it's in good standing, is good debt to have. Installment credit includes mortgages, car payments, and guess what? Student loans, yes, right? Winner. Keep them in good standing. Make sure you are in contact. If you need deferment at any time, make sure they know why, all the things. But when that's in good standing, it's good debt to have because you have an asset attached. You have a house, a car, or an education, which hopefully means the more you learn, the more you earn, right? So that's the first type. Second type of credit is your revolving credit. That's your credit cards, your personal loans. You can use it for anything. You get a credit card with a $5,000 limit on it, take the family to Disney World, max it out. No, don't do that. Don't do it. And spend the next 30 years paying it off. No. We want to tell you the rule of thumb on using revolving credit, a personal loan, a credit card. Try to keep your usage ratio to 30% or less. Now, if you're using it to almost 100% every month, but you're paying it off, okay. 30% is still where you're probably going to get more credit card offers down the road. You're going to get more credit accessible to you. Yeah.
You mean 30% of your line of credit?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you have a $1,000 line of credit card, you go out and spend $300. $300 out of $1,000. Thank you for the
You
clarification.
can have all of your monthly spending on a credit card as long as you're not spending a whole line of credit every month.
Well, if you're paying it all back every month, it's not as bad, but still 30% is where they kind of like to see you and they think you're healthy. It's healthier credit. They being the industry. So anyway, so then the third type of credit we don't always hear about because it's service credit. It's your utilities, gas, water, electric bills, cell phone bills, cable. Those companies, there's a cycle of using credit. So you have a credit card, you go out and you use it, you make purchases, you get your bill, you pay the bill. Your credit card company reports that you've made a payment to the credit bureaus, who then post that information to your credit report. That's how you build a credit report, your credit history. Your service providers typically do not report when you've made a positive on-time payment. They will report when you are behind, delinquent in collections, etc. So if service credit shows up on a credit report, usually it's negative information. Now, having said that, there's products out there. I think T-Mobile, not that I'm touting them, but they were advertising, hey, we'll pay to report your credit report or your payments to help boost your credit. Okay, I'm sure they charge a fee for that, but if you want, feel free to look into that. I'm not advocating. Now, when you're going for loans, there's something called the 5 C's of credit. Let's see if I actually remember them right now. First is your capacity to pay back the loan you're asking for. So what kind of a job and income do you have? What is the collateral? Do you have anything, are you putting any kind of a down payment down? Is there a house involved that they can repossess, take back, foreclose on if you need to? They're going to look at the economic condition. What's going on in the world right now is affecting interest rates and credit and people being accepted for loans and things of that nature. And here I am now forgetting. Did I put them in here? See, now I don't even remember what I put in here. No, I didn't. That would help. They'll come back to me. But anyway, capacity. Is there any cash up front? Collateral. Economic condition, I'm missing one. Anyone know? Gosh, that's embarrassing. Okay, well, there's another one. I'll think of it, and while Ron's talking, I'll look it up. All right, sorry about that. Last thing is credit reports, or not last thing, but credit reports I just mentioned, how they're built. It's by your credit usage. Has anyone in here checked their credit report recently? Oh, good. I am so glad to see that. Now, it's mostly staff, I think, but still. I'm going to tell you, you should be checking your credit reports at least once a year. Even if you're thinking, well, I don't have a whole lot of credit, I don't need to check my credit, you want to be looking for identity theft. Even if you're not using your credit much, somebody else might be. You want to make sure you look that up. So definitely check your credit reports. We recommend annualcreditreport.com. That is the main website that is used. The government built it when the credit consumer laws went through that said everybody's allowed to get their report for free. They are free. They do not affect your score. Lastly, you will not get your score when you order your credit reports for free. You have to pay for your score usually. There's other ways to check. But anyway, it is important to be checking your credit reports. Now, the next thing, that score I just mentioned. A score is the number that says how likely you are to repay a loan based on previous experience and history. So your credit score, the main one we still use is FICO, but there's a few others out there. FICO goes anywhere from 0 to 850. Typically 700 and above is good to excellent credit. 670 to 699, you're okay. 669 down to 585, you have had some bumps in the road. And below 584 and below is considered poor credit. Now I usually get the question too, isn't it better to have poor credit than no credit? Depends. What's making your credit poor? Is it one outstanding bill that if you start making good on it, your score can jump quickly? Then maybe. But here's what I recommend if you have no credit. And if you're thinking, well, I don't have a job yet, I'm only getting further into debt with credit card, get a secured credit card. This means you put down a security deposit for that credit card. You can get them, I believe, I heard as low as $200. So if you save up $200, you would take that to your bank, your credit union, saying, I need to build credit, I have $200. They put it in an account in your name, then they issue you a credit card with a $200 limit. Now I'm oversimplifying, obviously, but basically that's how it works. You go use that credit card like you would any other credit card. The best part about it is if you don't have a history, they've got your money. It's a security deposit. So the thing is, as you use that, they may raise your limit without asking for more. And I do know that those credit cards can help someone build a pretty solid credit score within about a year's time. Yeah.
So if you want to cancel your credit card, does that bring down your credit score?
If you cancel a credit card, if you close a credit card, yes. Because here's what it does. Let's say you have 5 credit cards. All of them have a $1,000 limit. You close one, you just effectively reduce your amount of accessible credit from $5,000 to $4,000. Any debt that you have on the remaining 4 cards, that actually ups the ratio. So you are better off leaving them open, use it for a gallon of milk once a month with some things, or replace it with another card. Get another card and close one. If you've got like a high annual fee you don't want to pay anymore, find a card that doesn't have that, get that open, then close it. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so, oh, there's the free, look at that, FICO scores. So what do you think is the biggest contributing factor to your credit score? Is it you've been denied credit, the number of credit cards that you have, your age, your payment history, the amount of debt that you have? Whoops. I didn't give you the answer. Or yes, I did. Where's the bloopers when you need them? Which one? Anyone catch it? The biggest contributing factor to your credit score is your payment history. So if you hear nothing else I say this afternoon, pay your bill on time every month. Even if it's just a minimum payment, which we don't recommend, but pay on time. Even being a day late can start bringing your score down. That is 35% of your score. 30% is the amount of debt that you have. So that when I said before, if you had poor credit, but it's just because one bill's sitting out there, maybe a cell phone, if you start making payments again and pay down the debt, which is 30%, together that's 65% of your score that's going up. So you want to make sure you're paying your bill on time and paying down the debt, keeping it at that 30% usage is still, again, healthier. Now, the other couple components of this, 15% is your credit age, which means your length of history. I got my first credit card in college when I was 19, young and dumb, I'll admit it freely. I'm now 55. I've had that credit, I still have that credit card too. I'm never closing it because I've got some credit age with that. The length of history is huge. But you want to establish some credit as soon as you can if you don't already have some, in my opinion. But that age does make a difference. Types of credit, I already went through the 3 types. So within that 10%, there's actually those 3 types, installment, revolving, and service credit. The last one is the number of inquiries. Now this means it's new credit. If I tell you, I think everyone should have a credit card, and you all run out and apply for 10 different credit cards, that's 10 hard inquiries. Every time you ask for a line of credit or a loan, it's a hard inquiry. You want to keep that number of hard inquiries low. When you request your credit report for informational purposes, it's a soft inquiry, just to differentiate. You want to keep the hard inquiries to a minimum. All right. This is an example of somebody taking out a used car loan for 4 years, $10,000 loan. You will see the top line is somebody with excellent credit. They get, and these are older numbers, I will admit that too, but 3.363%. The monthly payment's $223, and over the course of that loan, they pay $702 over 4 years. Not bad. Go to the middle line, somebody with credit, APR, annual percentage rate, is doubled, but the payment's not. Payment's only $237, and the interest paid, though, that's where it doubles, just about $1,400. Go down to the bottom line, you see something, 14%. Did you know what the legal limit is in Pennsylvania for used car loans? 22%. Ouch. That's only 14, but 22 is the legal limit. $275 for a monthly payment, $52 more a month than somebody with good credit. That adds up fast. So if you know you're going to be looking to get a car or a house or whatever, you want to get that credit score going up. So again, two biggest things: pay your bill on time, pay down your debt. All right. The good news, a couple things I want to tell you. All right, so you are all, not all, most of you, are getting ready. You're going to be coming out of school. You're going to be getting jobs. Maybe you already have jobs that are paying into retirement. Even if they don't, you can start contributing to retirement. Here's the difference. The blue line is somebody who starts at age 25, investing $200 a month until age 65. They end up, and that's only $200 a month, with over $500,000 by the time they retire. Somebody starting 10 years later, when you're thinking, oh, I can't do it now, I gotta wait, I gotta defer. Somebody starting at 30 makes less than half of that. You can't quite catch up. And starting at age 45, you can see they're only around 100,000 over that last 20 years. Investing is something when you are young, I highly encourage you to get involved. If your next job doesn't offer that, find somebody at your bank or credit union in their investing arm, most of them have them, and learn how to put some money away. You can do it yourself. There's lots of ways. We have a lot of brochures and information on our website at dobs.pa.gov on the back of the credit thing. But there are a lot of ways you can learn yourself. You can do it yourself. There's online apps. And of course, there's always risk involved in any investing. But just be cautious again. Make sure that the sites you're using are good sites. Or if you want someone live in person, talk to everybody you know. Find out who they use. You know, my broker is E.F. Hutton, and E.F. Hutton says, goes a little commercial. And am I just dating myself? Yeah. So anyways, you guys are young. Start early. Start often. You will not be behind the 8 ball when you can just get in the habit early, make it a habit. Yeah?
I have a question.
Sure.
What's the difference between the app banks and the physical bank?
So some of the apps, some of them are legit online banks. Some of them are not. They look like a bank. They smell like a bank, but they're not. What I recommend, again, read the fine print. Make sure they're FDIC insured. Now, when you go to investing, there's no insurance for investments. There's risk of investing. But again, check if they're regulated by the SEC, things like that. So you want to make sure you're looking at those options. But you guys, again, when you're coming out of school, you're getting those jobs. I know if you have student loan debt, which Ron's going to get to next, you're going to be like, oh, I can't quite put enough away. Start now. Even if it's, just get something away. You're gonna thank me someday, and I probably won't be around to see it. All right, that's me. That is my information, my email, my phone number, our web address, our mailing address. And then I'm going to turn things over to Ron, but first I'll let Ron go to make sure we don't run out of time for him, and then I'll stick around and we'll see if there's questions later. So. Woo! There you go, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Becky. How's everybody doing?
Woo!
Good. Pretty good at projecting my voice, so this microphone thing is like not my fan of choice. But I am Ron Felder from FIA. I am the principal of the Philadelphia Higher Education Access Partner. My job simplified is I support everybody in the city of Philadelphia for state grants, financial aid. I pretty much run around like a chicken with its head cut off, enjoying life. We're gonna go over Financial Aid 101. However, if you ever need to get in contact with me, anybody knows I am extremely OCD with emails. I even answer my emails on Sundays during football games. So you can always email me and I respond honestly under 24 hours. If you try to reach me on a cell phone, I'm always on the go. Good luck. Like Liam Nielsen said, Liam for, I forgot his last name from the movie Taken. However, there's my email, here's my contact information. Here's my Western partners and team. We all have a direct report to Mr. William Lizzie. However, this is my Western folks, so if you know any of your peers that go to school on the western side of Pennsylvania and they need help with FIA or any financial aid help, and they just don't know where to go, they can reach out to these individuals in here. One of the fun facts about this particular, our particular department is we have a funny rumor that once you start working in our department, within 5 years of working in the department, you lose your hair. As you see, Jonathan and Will are already gone. Kurt is up next. He is thinning very well. This is my eastern side. I only deal with Philadelphia, but you see Michael Bird, Bucks County, Montgomery County Training, all those guys, they do that aspect. So let's make it easy. You guys are going to Temple University, right? So you guys kind of understand that somebody in this room is paying for college, right? Right? Okay. So somebody in this room is paying for college, so we're going to talk about necessary things to consider. We're going to talk about financial aid. Does everybody know where their financial aid office is at? Anybody know the name of the building? Huh?
You can go in through Walkman, I'll give her that.
Go in through Washington.
There's two entrances, you could go in through Walkman.
All right, so we're going to get to that later. I want to make sure y'all know where the support is at. I mean, you're going to do it in the school. We're going to talk about scholarships. Because everybody loves that free money, right? Who loves getting money that they don't have to pay back? Raise your hand. No, that's right. Me too. We're going to talk about the federal application, which is the FAFSA that is coming out at the end of December this year. We're going to talk about the new FIA state grant application that has changed now. We're going to talk about a little bit of difference of what's federal and state aid. We're going to go over the numbers. We're going to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room that everybody does not like, which is student loans. However, you know, it's part of the game. And then I'm going to wrap you guys up, get you guys up out of here, have some pressing orders, get yourself situated. You can come back and ask Becky some questions, and then you can ask me some questions as well. However, when you think about college, you want to think about, all right, who's responsible for paying for school? Who is the person that's going to be handling the bills to make sure that you don't have to worry about any type of hurdles to jump over? Students, you are. Not your mom and dad. You guys are. You guys are looked at as young individuals to say, you are now paying for post-secondary education, whether you're on federal grants, state grants, scholarships, or loans. You are the responsible party. However, your parents do support you, and they do finance a somewhat large or somewhat small, but you are responsible for it. When we talk about grants and scholarships, we talk about free money. So your objective right now while you're in school, some of you are out having extremely hard majors. I couldn't do some of the majors that some of you guys, ladies and gentlemen, here have. However, what you should do is at least once or twice a month, try to apply for additional grants and scholarships so you can reduce any type of debt that you have now. So you don't have to worry about paying when you get out of school, so it can be a little lighter on your shoulders. Work study. I am a firm believer of work study. I actually am doing my job that I'm doing now because I started as a work study student in undergrad. Work study is probably the most boringest thing you've ever done in your life because you're sitting at a job that you just don't know. You're swiping IDs or you're just filing paperwork at Ms. Sanders' office for financial aid. However, you get paid every 2 weeks. It's a direct deposit. No, you're not old like myself, but you're going to pick up a paper check. Remember those days? And you can actually budget your money for the next 2 weeks. So instead of being rude to your mom and dad, sending them a Zelle request or Cash App request, you can actually now have your own money and say, No, Mom, I'm good. I got $75 to hold me down for this week. See me next week. Cool. All right, no problem. Loans. Here's the rumor up. Address the rumor right now. If you do not pay on your federal loans, guess what's not going to happen? Nobody in this room will be arrested. Nobody's going to take your job away. Nobody's going to take your firstborn. We're not going to take your car. We're not going to take your iPhone 15 titanium. Not happening. If you do not pay on your federal loans, yes, there is some penalties. Of course, we will garnish your wages, take your taxes, credit score will be hindered. If you play the game long enough, yes, we will take money out of disability, Social Security, and your pension. That's what's going to happen. But what you want to do is make sure that you do not fall into default, so you don't have to worry about that. Stop worrying about losing your DM and worry about your money. So, that's my adult conversation. Now, in order to be eligible for financial aid, you have to maintain a 2.0 GPA or higher, or whatever the college standard is at that particular university. Temple might be what? 2.0. So you want to make sure that you're always maintaining the 2.0 GPA or higher, because if you go underneath it, you cannot pull any type of federal aid or state aid on your account. You do not make student academic progress. And that's very, very important, because what you want to always maintain is you always want to make sure that your grades are good so that your money can flow. So even, it's like your heart. If your heart's not moving, the rest of your body's not moving. Make sense? All right. New things that happened in financial aid this year. I know when you guys did your financial aid paperwork, I don't know your classifications in here, but I know everybody here did a FAFSA form, and it said EFC, Expected Family Contribution Number. You were like, all right, whatever that means, based off of whatever my parents did, right? That EFC is officially gone. It is no longer around. You will never see it again. In 42 years, of financial aid application has not changed as much, and I'm 42. So, that should tell you that whatever the new verbiage is, you want to research. So it's called the Student Aid Index. It's a IRS formula that will determine, based off your cost of attendance, which is your tuition and fees at Temple University, and then housing and miscellaneous expenses like books, transportation, XYZ, will determine your financial need. This year is based off of the 2022 tax information for your parents. And the next application that you'll be doing at the end of December will be the 24-25 FAFSA. That is your federal aid. That make sense? Now wait, come on.
Well, I do want to add, you have a webinar, I'm going to say later on tonight, you have a webinar for that kind of goes through all the details of that for students. So we'll share it later, so that we'll go into the whole weeds of all this definition.
Yep. So it's very, very important that you attend that webinar, because the changes are kind of confusing. So you want to make sure when everything does flow out, like Sandra said, that you attend as much information sessions as possible, because honestly, we're still learning on our end of this. And this is a good time for not only as you students to be learning, as well as us administrators to be learning together for the betterment of the next classification coming in. Ooh, here's my next part. So we talked about grants and scholarships, free money. Talked about work study, talked about loans. If you have a 529 account, if your parents have a Gerber plan, a Nike.com, college savings, any type of college plan, you want to maximize that as much as possible. If you could stretch it out in 40 years, if I go to Miss Sandra's office and say, hey Miss Sandra, my mom has a Reebok, a college savings plan that she's been saving since I was 1 year old, and she's been putting $1,000 each month for the past 18 years. And whatever that is, can we just break that down in 4 years? Well, guess what? That's my remaining balance, and that helps out for me to be less in debt. Sandra's gonna be like, listen, this is how you're gonna do this, this is how you're gonna do that. And there should be no penalties. Does that make sense? Because it's education. Okay, where's your money come from? Young ladies, where's your money come from? Yeah, it's yours. You clean houses. Okay, so that money comes from you. Who else?
My grandparents had one of those
Like a savings account?
Yeah.
College savings account. So your grandparents had a college savings account. All right. So not only do you make your own money, Grandparents set you up for success in the future, but the federal government is also a primary source of your financial aid as well. So that's your your FAFSA grant, as well as your federal loans. The next part is your FIA, that's us, Pennsylvania State Grant Agency. We administrate funds for the Pennsylvania residents. However, we submit funds to Delaware, Massachusetts, Ohio, Vermont, and West Virginia. Cool part about it, we only talk about temple rights now. Every year, your college, wonderful Temple University, TU, has a budget, an endowment, a merit fund that gives money to students who are high achieving, who are assets to the school, who are going to be representing that Temple name. And they're going to give it to you guys each year based off of your academic standards or whatever you apply for. You want to maximize that as well. Scholarships and grants. Somebody in this room has different organizations that they're part of. They might be part of the Philadelphia Banking Youth Network. They might be part of PA Treasury for minority stuff, things like that. Churches, fraternities, sororities. Maximize those sources as well because they're there as well for you. Talk about scholarship on the post-secondary side, local, regional, National Honor Society. Remember when you guys were in high school, you remember that some of those kids were in National Honor Society? You still apply for it. Here's a free list of some free scholarship websites. I know some of you have your phones. I'll give you 30 seconds.
I'm sure we'll make the slides available to them.
All right, I'm back. There you go. Your Pell Grant this year is $7,395, which is a lot. So if you do qualify for that maximum amount, you want to use it as much as possible while you're in, because you don't have to pay that money back. There's another grant that does apply to Temple, and Ms. Mios will explain to you guys in another webinar or whenever you want to come talk to her and financial aid, is the FSCLG grant. I've never seen a student receive $4,000.
Well, we do sometimes. It depends on one day.
It all depends.
Yeah.
However, if you do, good, woo, wow, you hit the jackpot. You want to maximize work study because that's free grant, that's free money as well when it comes to the federal program. However, at Temple, the maximum state grant is $5,750 because Temple's cost of attendance falls into that $29,000 or higher House Awards funds. But if you know some of your friends that decided to leave Pennsylvania because they wanted to get away from their parents, and they think that they're making money, and they go to Delaware, they go to Massachusetts, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting a fiancé grant, you can call them up tonight and say, I get more money than you. Because we only submit $600 a year to those state schools. Yeah. So you get more money by staying here. Other programs you want to look into, if it applies, if you're in the military, EAP, if you're in foster care, if you're in Department of Human Services, Chafee, if you are looking at a Pennsylvania, a PA TIP program, if you're looking outside after you graduate from Temple, you want to go for like electrical, you want to reach out to that application process. That's a separate application, but you have to ask for AFBS on file. If you are looking for a Ready to Succeed scholarship, which is for my sophomore, juniors, and seniors, you have a 3.0 or higher GPA, you can receive an additional grant as well. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room real quick. Loans. You don't like them. Hate them? You like loans? Hate them? You like loans? Hate them? What about you, young man? Don't like them? All right, he was like, I ain't got them. I'm good over here. Nobody likes loans, right? All my adults in the room. Do you like loans?
I'm still paying mine.
Still, man. Ms. Becky, do you like loans?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. All right.
They're a necessary.
They are a necessary evil.
Necessary evil.
They are. So if you do have a federal loan, right now it's a necessary evil for you to invest in your future because you're going to be making 6 figures when you leave Temple University to pay them back. Now, with that 6-figure salary, you have to think about this. For every $10,000 that you borrow from the federal government, it's a minimum $100 payment on your student loans for a 10-year plan. So Miss Becky signs to leave Temple University with $40,000 of student loan debt. Her monthly payments at 21 are $400. Woo! But Miss Becky said, "Now I got smart my sophomore year and started applying for scholarships and grants all through every semester, every year, and she left Temple with only $20,000 of debt."
And for the state, where we have public loan service,
What?
public service loan forgiveness thing.
Even more. She said, "Listen, I'm gonna try to monopolize this even, so they gonna get rid of my loans after this." But before they got rid of her loans, her monthly payments at 21 were only $200 a month. She might have an $80,000 salary. $200 is not gonna be her. But it's gonna be good enough for her to manage. I'm establishing good financial literacy and paying on time. So please be conscious of not overborrowing and making sure you know exactly where your loans are every year when you leave school. Every year before the summer starts, you should do something called exit council meeting with your financial aid department, so you can see exactly where you stand financially, so you can know what the future plays out. Private loans are back. I'm an advocate of private loans. If you go to your bank of choice and make sure that your credit is correct, it's good. And that's where the credit and private loans fall into place. And I was telling you guys, like I tell my 19-year-old son, really simplified. Having bad credit is like dating the ugliest person in the world. Having good credit is like dating the prettiest person in the world, because you can always feel confident that nobody will tell you no. So really, really good feeling. But right now, FIA does have a private loan lending servicer. It's called PA Forward, and you want to look into it. FAFSA, this year you have to have a FAFSA ID. You guys already know about this. If something's wrong with your FAFSA ID, you can actually just use your username and password. You guys are already established your FAFSA ID because you're already here. However, the FAFSA will be available this year in December. You are no longer using what's called the IRS data retrieval tool. It's now called the DDX, the Direct Data Exchange. As Mihal said, that you guys are having a webinar as well later on the road for this. So I'm not going to drag it out for you. It's not. This year you're using everything from 2022. You cannot use 2021 for none of the information. You cannot use 2023. You have to use all your documentation from 2022. If you are a lazy student and you don't know your full 9-digit social security number, please learn it. Please learn it. All right.
And don't write it down and keep it in your wallet.
No, and don't put it in your notes phone, pages in your phone either, because if you lose your phone, they can find it that way too. You have to remember it. You can memorize your Snapchat for eyes only password. You can do that. Somebody here was like, "How does he know this? Too old to know this, huh?" Yeah. All right. You will not see his or hers or him on the FAFSA this year. You will actually see the word contributor. So don't be freaked out. Or what is a contributor? Contributor is a student, parent, spouse, or a student spouse. You don't have to worry about this part, so we're just gonna move about this. You already know what school you select on your FAFSA is Temple. Hello. Just a little further. Let's just skip a little bit. I don't need to go through this. If something happens, God forbid we go through another pandemic and they lock us in the house again for another 2 years, which was not that bad because I saved a lot of money. Yes, you can receive additional financial aid. However, you want to reach out to your financial aid office and talk to them. You want to reach out to FIA and talk to them. If you lose your job, things like that. If we all say we don't want you to come clean our house no more, now you got to come clean our condos. You know, your money might be a little low because now you're not cleaning mansions. You can talk to us in that as well. There you go. All right. So here is the number to call if you need any help. FIA state grant application is changing, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody in this room needs to hear this, as well as Ms. Mihar. We are now going to what's called Grant Us. It will no longer be FIA.org, it will be Grant Us. So everybody in this room who's already had a FIA state grant application, you will actually have to do a brand new application. You'll be in a brand new platform, and you will have to create a brand new username as well. So when you complete your FAFSA this year, and then at the end of January, you will see a link that will say Grant Us. Please go into that Grant Us and complete that FIA state grant application. Don't get weirded out like, what is this? If it's spam, it's not spam. Oh, it's the new wave, as they would say. All right? here is my contact information. Again, if you have any questions you want to talk to me, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. FYI, I do respond to texts. I just don't speak text jargon. So if you like send me little acronyms, I'm the king of blocking because I think it's always spam. So I just need like simplified text. I'm kind of old now. It's like, hi, Mr. Ron, what's going on? There you go, stuff like that. Question for Ms. Becky and I. Come on, give me some questions. Come on.
Student loan debt forgivable under bankruptcy.
Is student loan debt forgivable under bankruptcy? Is it? You guys think about it? Young man, you said no. I call everybody young man and young lady. So young man, you shaking your head as no.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it is? Let's ask the expert. Okay.
Most loans are not forgivable, most student loans, because they're backed by the government.
There you go.
I actually had someone in my house one time who said, oh yeah, my daughter's got $110,000 in student loan debt from Alvernia, and she's gonna, go to bankruptcy court. I'm like, no, she's not. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, she was also allowed to use the funds for things like, vacations, spring break. Don't do that with your loans, I'm just saying.
We financial aid don't like to hear that. It's for educational
Yes.
expenses.
I didn't want to say that. I was like, for educational purposes only. Your funds should be used for educational purposes, please.
Well, I did have some slides too that I want to put up to.
Okay. You want forward?
And then also I have to go to class.
Okay. So where we at?
Okay.
Right here?
So, Student Financial Services got back on social media. We took a hiatus from Instagram for a little bit. We got back. So we will be posting a lot of tidbits of the updates of the change FAFSA. It's a lot of information, but we will be posting some updates for you guys via Instagram if you want to follow us. We have on our website, we have a whole page where we have webinars, and if you can't attend the webinar, we will record them and post it. Tonight at 7, the webinar is all for continuing students. We will walk through step by step all the changes of the new FAFSA so that you fully understand how it's going to affect you and your families. And then on the second link down there, we also have additional FAFSA information. So we have all your webinars that FIA has put out, any webinars about financial aid that we have, and the Department of Ed posted some new webinars via YouTube. And those are pretty cool. I watched them. They actually show screenshots of the FAFSA, so it makes it a little easier for you to understand. Our office will be having walk-in FAFSA filing every Wednesday in January. So we're going to do it from 9 to 3. It's on that last link right there. You click the link on our website, and it'll be a free fall. You just come in, no registration. You can walk in with your laptop, and if you get stuck, we'll help you with it. And it'll be every Wednesday in January. Because we understand that there's so many changes, like he's saying, it could be very confusing. So we just want to make sure that nobody doesn't follow FAFSA because they're confused about the changes. It's new for us as well, so we know it's going to be new for you. And for Temple, our FAFSA deadline is February 1st. So we want everybody to file early. That's why in January we're putting these sessions out so that everyone can just come in and get some help.